Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Viewpoint Revisioned, and it's from 93 Made Games. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page to find out more information than I could possibly tell you here. To do that, all you gotta do is follow the link at the top corner of your screen as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Go there, find out more information, and hopefully consider backing the project. Now, Viewpoint Revisioned is just the first set in a series of games. I would say it's a collection card game. You and the other players are trying to help these otherworldly creatures known as blinkers, sentient creatures, get back to their home world of Myclopia. And in each set of the game, you're actually going to help them get escape or get through a different type of world. So in this first set, it's the Triclopia, where these the Triclops creatures are trying to stop them from getting home. So in game terms, however, what you're doing is you are taking a hand of cards, using those cards, placing them down into your field of view. Everything has to do with view and eyes and things like that. Into your field of view and trying to collect as many viewpoints as possible before the other players do. And if viewpoints being points on the different cards. And also utilizing the abilities on those cards in order to gather them and to keep your opponents from gathering those viewpoints. If you're the first person to get to 100 or more viewpoints, you'll win the game. And the deck might also run out too, and the game will end that way. But of course, it's not quite as simple as that. So let's go ahead and take a look at how the game is played with a prototype copy of the game. So just do bear in mind that what you may see here, a lot of it may be final in the final version of the game after it's kickstarted, but some things may change too, and so that's why it's really important to pay attention to what's on the Kickstarter page and the changes that come throughout the campaign. But then in any event, we will come back and discuss it further. Viewpoint Revisioned is a competitive collection card game for 2 to 6 players. Each player is trying to help the otherworldly blinkers return to their home world of Myclopia by collecting viewpoints. In game terms, each card you can play in the game has a number indicating how many viewpoints it's worth. When played into your field of view, you gain that amount of points to your total, as well as trigger a special effect. If you can hold on to these viewpoints and be the first to gather together 100 or more, you'll win the game. To set up the game, choose at random one player to be the dealer. The dealer shuffles the deck of cards and deals 5 cards out to each player, including themselves, to form their starting hand. The rest of the deck is placed face down within reach of all players, leaving space for a discard pile. Play will begin with the player to the left of the dealer, and turns will continue in clockwise order until someone is declared the winner. On your turn, you can take several actions in order. First, draw a card from the deck and add it to your hand. If the deck is empty, you instead skip this step and continue with the rest of your turn. We'll get back to what happens when the deck is empty in a little bit. Next, you can play one card from your hand face up into your field of view, which is the area of the table directly in front of you. Then resolve the action on the card. There are over 20 different cards in the deck, with some having multiple copies. Every single card has a viewpoint score in the top left corner, which could even be 0 or a negative number. Underneath the name and artwork will be a text box with a special effect that must resolve when the card is played. This could involve moving cards, swapping cards, stealing cards, drawing cards, destroying cards by sending them to the discard pile, or even forcing players to skip turns. Many cards use symbols to indicate special actions or the affected area: a player's hand, the draw pile, the discard pile, the field of view, or every player's field of view, which is called the Viewniverse. Some cards also have an arrow indicating it can either be played as normal during your turn for one ability, or revealed on another player's turn for a different ability, usually in defense or to counter an opponent's other actions. Once you've finished resolving your card, add up all the viewpoints on all the cards in your field of view. If they add up to 100 or more, the game is over and you win. Otherwise, the game continues to the next player, who begins from step 1. An alternative way the game might come to an end is if the deck runs out of cards. Turns will continue as normal, with players skipping their draw step. If all players have run out of cards to play from hand and still no one has reached 100 viewpoints, the winner will instead be the person who has the most viewpoints at that point. And that is Viewpoint Revisioned. Well, Viewpoint Revision, I mean, first and foremost, you have its very interesting backstory and art style as well. It really has its own unique art style and character design for the characters in the universe. They all have their own little backstories in the instruction booklet as well. And again, this is just the first set, so that whole story and all the different characters and locales that they go to is all going to be fleshed out as time goes on. But you also marry that together with the theme of the game together with the actual actions of the game and what you're doing in it, trying to gather these different viewpoints, everything having to do with sight and eyes and stuff like that, field of view, Viewniverse, which is everyone's field of view together. And really, it does wed the theme together with the cards more than you think that it would. And with that card play, the entire is like, I guess you would call it set collection. You're not really getting sets, although I guess it's one big set of points that you have in your field of view. But it's the give and take of it is very interesting because you have to sort of plan ahead, and well, not sort of, you do, in order to try and maximize the viewpoints that you have. But it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. You have to, not that it's a long game, but you're not just going to get those 100 viewpoints right away. If you try to play down just a card that has, oh, this has 20 viewpoints on it, well, I'll just play this down right now. There's a very good chance it's going to get stolen from you or swapped with another player. Now, of course, if they do that too soon, you have every possibility of taking that back too. But it's more about sort of building up for a future turn. So, for instance, there's a card that is actually worth negative viewpoints, but it allows you to play extra cards per turn. That's huge. But how long are you willing to let it sit out there? Because some other player might jump ahead of you if you have this little lump sitting there. So you have to know when to try and get rid of that by swapping it to another player, giving it to someone, or destroying it, and so on. So, there is this element of strategy there, but at the same time, of course, not just because of the theme, it is a very accessible game. It's very quick to teach. It's very quick for people to pick up and to play, very quick to set up and to take down, of course. And I would say it's accessible not just for people who are, maybe they're not really into heavier games and they need something, that's a little more accessible for them, but also people who do want a heavier game and an element of strategy, but you need something to warm up for the night. You need something in between other games that take up more time to set up. You're waiting on other people and so on. But because of the nature of the game and because there's so many cards and variety of cards in the game and the fact that it will be expandable with future sets, that means that it could become one of the centerpiece games of your evening, especially for the fact that it goes from 2 to 6 players. So that's one of those important things where you might not think about it all the time. You're so used to so many games having 2 to 4 players, with 4 being that sweet number. But having 2 to 6 means that you have that flexibility for your game nights and for the people that are there. So all these different things together, the accessible play, the theme, the gameplay that has that element of strategy to it, and its flexible amount of players, really could mean that it's going to be great for your game group, or that someone that would have a great time with this in their game group. And if either of those things are the case, then hey, listen, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go to the official Kickstarter project page right now by following the link in the top corner of your screen or down in the description section underneath this video. Find out tons of information there, more than I could possibly have told you here, and maybe catch a glimpse, a viewpoint of what the future of this game series will be, and hopefully you will at least consider backing the project. That is Viewpoint Revision from 93 Made Games. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, for supporting our sponsors. Take care.